YouTube, what the crap's going on? HeirofCarthage here, and I am back on Total War Rome 2, and I had told you in a previous video that I had some more Suebi swarm action, or barbarian blob, whichever one you like to call it, and I have that in this battle, and it's against Rome, which some of you wanted to see it against Rome. This strategy is perfectly well capable of taking down Rome. This is interesting though. My opponent actually brings a crud load of infantry, which is actually a pretty good way to just start off countering the Suebi swarm, because you know it relies on speed and outflanking, and the more men there are, the more men you have to cut down, and the more men there are, sometimes the harder it gets to outflank as well. So in and of itself, this is already going to be a challenge for me for several reasons, and I've got my guys all swarmed up down here. So, and my opponent starts off on the other side of the map, and so he never really said anything to me during the match. I have no idea whether this was because he expected a Suebi swarm, or he just wanted to play defensively. You know, if he's expecting a Suebi swarm, he started all the way across the map, which means that I have to come all the way across the map. Again, not sure if it was a way to try and get me to use my abilities prematurely or what. But yeah, so he just kind of deploys over here. I've got one scout rider that I'm going to go do some scouting with, but you can see here's his main infantry body. Looks like he's got 5 units of legionary cohort, and then he's got behind them 5 units of hastati, and then in the back he's got a single evocati cohort in reserve. Definitely not a bad plan here too, because an evocati cohort is a brutal unit to keep in reserve. These guys have blazing attack and they have high armor. He also has cavalry units on each flank. He doesn't have a whole lot of cav, and he's supporting them with gladiator spearmen. He's got one on each flank, and then he's got one here by his general. So my opponent has 2 lines of infantry, which means that I can only charge one of them. The others will just be purely reserve, which again is also a good strategy. So right off the bat, I could tell that my job here with the Suebi swarm was going to be difficult at best. So you can see me kind of moving my men up across the map and getting myself into position basically. And yeah, I'm using the arrow keys to move my men. I can just select all of them and then use the arrow keys to move them. If you try and do this in like a locked group formation, it won't work, because the movement it'll take them all out into a line or do something weird. So don't use a locked group, just select them, use your arrow keys to move them. So I'm going to move somewhat close to the Roman player. I don't want to get too close though, because remember there's the fast charge ability is the one that's really critical to all this, and the fast charge ability is has 2 phases. The first one is 15 seconds of increased speed. The second phase, you still have that increased speed, and it lasts much longer. I think it lasts for a full minute, and it gives you also a massive charge bonus. So if you collide with the enemy before the 15 seconds, it won't do you any good because you don't have a charge bonus yet. So I want to get close to the Roman, but I need to activate the charge from a distance still, because again, if I engage him too soon, I won't have the charge bonus. So that's why you can see me kind of lining up back here a little ways away from him, because 15 seconds isn't that long, and I can cover quite a bit of ground. So here I activate fast charge, and I'm distracting some of his cav with my light cav. But at this point I start taking my cav to the flanks, because I want to keep his cav from charging my blob. That's something that concerns me, because it'd be a great way to counter things. And all of my men are now moving forward. You can see me issuing the movement orders, though as usual I always forget the longbow hunters because they're not my first priority. This is a big deal, because the longbow hunters' flaming arrows are a critical piece of causing a quick chain route. But yeah, I'm in the fast charge, and it looks like my guys actually already have a big charge bonus. So maybe I need to relook at this, because it happened really fast. So in any case, I'm in the fast charge, but see my opponent pulled back, and this causes me to have to cover even more distance with my men, which means that I need to pin his guys from doing any further pullback. So I hit him with a light cav from behind, and then this noble rider from the front, and I'm gonna get I'll get a decent number of kills because of the charge, I think. But right there, let's see, yeah, the fast charge ability is still on, but my men lost their charge bonus, so it's almost like this isn't behaving like I remembered it behaving. So right there I just used pride, but my charge bonus is gone and fast charge just wore off. Man, I need to take another look at that. We'll take a look at it after this replay, because that's different than what I remember. Fast charge lasted much longer previously, and it makes me wonder if maybe somehow it got touched in a patch and we just didn't hear about it. So we'll go time it and check it out, but you can see that without fast charge, I put Headhunt and Pride on a little too early there, which means that my men are going to be damaging, but there is no fast charge. The Romans won't really get a good counter charge, though right here he does kind of get in my way with the Hastati unit. Not a bad plan. And then I've got my Berserkers going in. Again, I can't really outflank him quickly enough because his line is long enough. And I do cause some pretty serious damage to the Romans. Like, they're losing men at a considerable rate. My cavalry has his cavalry pinned down pretty well, but he's supporting with spears. I've got my general and other spearmen behind to make sure he can't charge me from behind, and I'm chasing off his cavalry with another spearman. So my biggest problem is that I don't have anything on the flanks, and I left my archers behind, and so I didn't have any flaming arrows. It's possible I could have caused a quicker chain route here. And notice, though, that he drops the loyalty of the 10th at a very opportune moment, which should make his men pretty much unbreakable. Yeah, so now all of a sudden his Roman legions here in the center are unbreakable. So it kind of stems the chain route that was going on, so an extremely good counter on the part of my opponent. And again, he's still losing men quickly, but his men are holding, and they're holding longer than I would like them to. My Wolf Warriors just got rear charged. I deliver a bit of a rear charge. So again, over here on the flank, his men's morale is shaky. And my first volley of flaming arrows, I didn't realize he'd drop loyalty to the 10th. My first volley of flaming arrows should have gone to the flank. These guys did go ahead and rout, but you can see that loyalty to the 10th, man, it's doing the trick. And then his general's going to try and move through this gap and get to my longbowmen because he now sees what I'm doing with them. But at this point, my opponent has lasted so long in the fight that my men are worn down. They no longer have the same push that they do initially. So his infantry reserve system and that timely using of loyalty to the 10th has actually now turned this battle into his favor. There's a small chance I could pull it out. I keep doing rear charges, I keep firing flaming missiles, but whatever I do, I'm going to have to do it quick. He actually has units that could potentially come back from routing. I'm having to chase them with this Wodenaz spear to try and keep them from coming back from routing, because a legionary cohort coming back would be terrible. But look, his men continually keep stabilizing here and there, and my infantry's just dying. My longbow hunters got distracted just for a second by his general, and it was just enough for them to get rid of that flaming arrow penalty. And now that my men are dying, his men are starting to gain courage, and the flaming arrows are actually starting to take their toll on my men now too. Initially, when your morale is high from the charge, the flaming arrows won't hurt your men as bad as it does the enemy, but now it's taken a toll. So at this point, it's pretty much a hopeless fight for me. I don't have enough men left. My opponent did everything right here, so he retreated from my initial fast charge, plus he was able to get the benefit of me miscalculating my unit or ability use. My general ability came too early, some of my unit abilities came too early. I did not get a flanking position. I really needed a flanking position. Initially I left a Wodenaz spear and a couple of Levy Freemen behind my line. I probably should have just used those guys to go ahead and try and get an outflanking maneuver started earlier. My longbowmen should have been there, so this battle was still winnable, I think, had my longbowmen been there a little earlier. But that depends, because my opponent used the loyalty of the 10th ability in a very timely manner. Very well done on his part. So he countered the Suebi swarm very well here, very well. And you can see that most of his units got beat on pretty bad, but even just a couple of them sticking around and getting a bunch of kills, like this legionary cohort and these two. And you can see that some of his other units didn't get a ton of kills, but they still got some kills, and it just ended up adding up for him. Now, this Berserker unit did well, this Wolf Warrior did well, this Wodenaz Spear did excellent, but you can see where some of my other units there struggled without that massive charge bonus, and my riders could only hold out for so long. Again, my longbow hunters were out of position, my timing was a little off. Let's go test the timing and see if anything has changed. I know for a fact in the past that it was 15 seconds on the initial phase, and then after that it was, I want to say 60 seconds of continued high charge bonus. But let's find out. I'm just going to bring a few units. And we'll bring a couple of different units actually, just to make sure it doesn't affect different units differently. It shouldn't, but it'll be a fair test. Put the Roman, they've got a few units. Okay, so perfect. Romans, I want them to be the attackers actually, so not that I plan on really finishing a fight, but that way they'll move towards me. Okay, let's just start the battle here, and I'm just gonna test the Suebi general abilities. This will allow me to run a timer, and we can kind of confirm here. And some of you might be like, well, why are you doing this, Heir? This is a great way to learn from what happened. Like, so I watched the video, I see that I kind of mistimed some of my unit abilities, and also it seemed like things are different. So watching replays is a great chance to study what went on in the battle. and find out why. And once you know why, you can usually do better. So let's see, got all my units here. I'm just backing up from the Romans to make sure I have plenty of time for the unit ability to cool down. So let's fast forward, let it cool down. And it should just be a few more seconds, and then I'll pop the ability and we'll keep a close eye on it, and I'll kind of run a timer. Okay, my abilities are now usable. We're going to take fast charge, and we're going to apply it right here to one of these units. Well, let's apply it to the spear levy, and then I'll keep my eye on the spear levy. So there it goes. And let's see, you can see the green timer ticking down here. I'm going to keep my mouse on them to see their stats. And let's see. So yeah, phase 1 is complete. The charge bonus kicks in. That was 15 seconds precisely. And now it starts to take a little longer. And that one I didn't get a timer started, but I can give you roughly an idea of how long it takes. I missed a few seconds, but looks like it's 30 to 45 seconds maybe. Not a minute. So see, that second phase is when it kicks in, so either I wasn't watching right, or I just mistimed it in the first one. That 15 seconds goes by pretty quick, and that's probably where I mistimed it and ended up taking me a little too long to get to his men, and that charge bonus wore off. I don't think that this would work differently in a custom battle than it would in an online battle. They should be identical. So unless you all know something different, let me know, but it looks like that is the case. So there you can see the fast charge ability coming to an end. So it is now over. So, and it looks like that's about 45, maybe 50 seconds. As far as the pride ability giving you the extra damage, let's check that one out too. So, looks like the timer is going on it. So, missed a few seconds again, but it shouldn't be a big deal. You can see the timer counting down out there. And that is a huge boost in weapon damage. Spear Levy with 53 weapon damage? That's insane. And then, Curious. Ooh, that gives them a lot of armor-piercing damage. That's why the damage gets so serious right there. Because almost all of the damage appears to be armor-piercing. That's brutal. Yeah. So that's why Pride can be so important, because they'll just be hacking through enemy armor. In any case, this one lasts for quite a while too. Looks like it's going to be close to a minute. So that's curious. I'll test that again and just make sure that it behaves the same in a multiplayer battle as it does in a custom battle. Because it sure didn't seem like it behaved quite like this in that one. But then again, maybe I wasn't paying real great attention. I guess we can always replay it and see. In fact, I'll do so real quick. Let's concede defeat, and let's put that replay back on one more time here. And just see, double check that, now that we know the numbers in our head. And then, you know, whether or not it's true, like if it's not true, at least it helps me understand what happened. And if it is true, it'll help me understand what I did wrong here. Or if it is different, then at least it makes me know that the Suebi swarm would work different in a custom battle than would a multiplayer battle. That would be weird. I've never seen anything like that in Total War, so I'm guessing that that's not true. So don't sit there thinking like, oh, Heir found a glitch. No, I doubt it's true. It's probably just me not paying attention. I am going to fast forward so we can get to that point quicker. And then we'll just keep a really close eye on my men when we get to that point. Alright, fast forward, fast forward. Sometimes I wish you could go even faster. Shouldn't take too long though. I remember that I was up at about this point whenever I activated the abilities. I think that my opponent's retreat actually just wasted the right amount of time there and really helped out. Let's see. Because I want to run the timer from when I start using fast charge. And that time should start here soon. So I'm going to keep an eye on my guys here, and we'll just run a timer and just validate that this works the same in custom battle as it does in multiplayer battle. Make sure I haven't missed anything or misspoken to you. Okay, fast charge activated. And I have a timer running, so that's why I'm not talking right now. I'm going to keep an eye on the timer. There's no charge bonus yet on any of the units. It should kick in right about now. There it goes, yep. And then we should have about 40 seconds at this point, so I've got a new timer running. Charge bonus is on. Yep, I just popped it too early, and then my opponent retreated. That's all there was to it. So, looks like it works precisely the same. Yep. I should have gotten a little closer. And of course, had I gotten a little closer and then done it, my opponent's appropriate response would have been to immediately charge me, try and close the gap before the end of the 15 seconds. So man, kudos to my opponent. He just threw me off here. Fantastic. Good job on his part. So hope you all enjoyed this. That's all I have for now. We've validated that that works the way that I thought it did. That's always a good thing to do. Just make sure things work the way you thought it did. Always reevaluate your strategy whenever it gets beaten. Understand why it got beaten, and see if it was human error, see if it was a misunderstanding of the game. I always find that to be a good thing to do, and there you all got to do it with me. So interesting lesson here. If you were wondering how to counter the Suebi swarm, I think that was pretty well done by my opponent right there. 2 infantry lines, 1's reserve. He had some cheap infantry, some strong infantry. He had his flanks well guarded with gladiator spearmen, and he had reserves all the way back by his general too. So for instance, had I taken a berserker around the flank or something, he could have tried to intercept it with one of those units. So good job by my opponent. I like what he did there, and it was definitely an informative battle. Hope you all enjoyed it. Heir of Carthage signing off for now.